2, 1. Here we go.
Okay. And you froze again.
Okay.
Hey, what happened?
I don't know. It's actually going cuckoo here now. This is okay. I keep losing access to my. I'm going to have to try it without. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to the background. That's the one you have there. Oh, man, I was really looking forward to this particular show. Okay. You must have it there. No.
Mm-mm.
Crystal, can you hear me? Crystal,
There you go. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't know which one we're on. Are we going to lose our deal here?
Where are we? Like 105? Where you say you have until 110, right?
Oh, okay. That makes sense. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try it. I'm not sure which camera is on. Let's see. Okay, HT wide. Yeah. Okay. Let's give it a whirl. I'm gonna take
Okay. I think we're live.
I think we're live too. Well,
With all of that,
Crystal,
I believe we're live.
I think we are live with all of that. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Well, for those of who can put up with this technological thing we've got going on here, um, I'm super excited about today's show. We are going to be talking about things that plan sponsors are worried about coming into the next year. We have a new administration. I've got 5 things that we want to discuss. So let me read your bio and then we can jump right in. Okay?
All righty. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All righty. So, hello, everyone. Please help me welcome Crystal Mitchell to our show, my friend and colleague. Crystal is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. She's the co-host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. That's another radio show. She's an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College and a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, along with being a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. Hey, Crystal. How you doing?
Hi. I'm good. And yourself?
I'm great. Thanks for putting up with me. Thank you all for letting me deal with these computer program problems. I don't know what is going on there, but it looks like we've got the numbers going through there. We've got the wording up. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so
Sounds good.
5 current worries and some strategic strategies, rather, to help ameliorate the pain. Okay, so the first one that plan sponsors are facing, at least my clients are talking with me about, is market volatility. Since we've had all kinds of things going on in our market, and as well as the employment, which is different, right? The economy versus the market; those are different.
Mm-hmm.
Some folks are like, "What should I do?" And the best thing that I can suggest that you do as a plan sponsor is to meet with your financial advisor, your retirement plan advisor, someone like myself, and ask them to take a look at your portfolio. Make sure you've got a good solid group of target date funds. Make sure you've got some stable value funds for those folks that want to take it back and rest a little bit and try not to get involved. And make sure you have a well diversified group of assets. So if you're thinking of maybe not adding a class of investments like an international class or some particular type of bond fund, this might be a good time to put that in so that your participants have a choice with regard to where they want to put their money in. And of course, as you know, I'm going to preach diversification, right? And you might even have your advisor come in and talk about the difference between having a bunch of different investments and real diversification, because they're not always the same, if that makes sense. You can have 8 large company funds. That's not necessarily diverse. You want to have small cap, mid cap, and then some bond funds and some international funds. Spread that money around to different asset classes rather than asset managers. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
Okay. Questions about that?
No, but yes, the market volatility, because there's some drastic um, ideas on the table that really is going to upset the U.S. economy and possibly the world economy, as well as a number of individuals may lose their jobs, which going to put them in another situation, especially if they're close to retirement. So this is a time to start having some real conversations because there's some real things going to happen in 2025.
I'm so glad you brought that up because it's so true. And what also is true is we don't know when exactly it's going to happen. There are checks and balances. So that means that part of it could happen sooner or later. We just don't know. So that's very difficult to prepare for if you happen to be a participant in a plan as well. How do you, because you don't know what's going to happen, how much it's going to happen, and when it's going to happen. You know,
Right, exactly. And what companies that are going to be directly affected, and that could be along, in the 4-year time frame here we got. But if they start eliminating unions and tariffs on manufacturing companies and things like that, that could take you down pretty fast. Especially, I would say we would want to equate it to like the pandemic. Whereas the pandemic without a CARES Act, that's what I'm gonna say it's gonna look like.
yeah, I think you're making a good point there. And I think, you know, not to get political because I don't want to do that on this show, but we are dealing with someone who is a bit more erratic. They do things that we're not expecting. So that first check that we got during the Trump administration, I'm sure he didn't expect to do that. I'm sure, and we all know that was Congress that acted and said you need to help Americans out, and so he signed the check, but it was Congress that appropriated the money, right? So um, we still have that entity there that has to approve and do a lot of things. So I think we're going to have a very, very interesting, as the Chinese curse says, a very interesting 4 years.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
Okay, so the first worry that many plan sponsors I'm talking to have was market volatility. The second one is retirement readiness. So we're talking with plan sponsors as to what their worries are. Big one, retirement readiness of their particular participants. How do I get my participants ready when we have so much uncertainty to deal with? And the first thing that I'm going to suggest, which is really big, which is a big part of the Secure 2.0 Act, is automatic enrollment. It can be a bit of a headache, the automatic enrollment, because it does involve the retirement plan company that you're working with to actually do a sweep. There are some opportunities to opt out of the automatic enrollment. The really cool thing, though, that I think about automatic enrollment is that depending on your situation, you're most definitely depending. That's kind of a couching, isn't it? But in most situations, you definitely get an increase in enrollment, which is a good thing because the more money we have, the better. Lots of times, the automatic enrollment comes along with auto escalation. That is, you'll start someone at 6 or 3%, and then the goal is to get them to 6%. And remember, most financial advisors suggest that people above the age of 30 start saving at about that 10 to 15% level. So automatic escalation can help get people there, although not always. So the way that works is you automatically enroll folks in the plan. They've got an X amount of time, I want to say 60 to 90 days to opt out of the plan. No harm, no foul. Mm-hmm. And then if they're in, they can also choose, or you can choose for them, to increase their contributions by 1% usually a year until they reach a particular goal. So it's a great way to get people saving for retirement. And many participants actually want their plan saver, their plan provider, their employer to do that for them. And please don't think that they're going to be locked in. That's part of the education. Your employees are not locked in. They can stop the escalation anytime they want. They can stop the automatic enroll and get out. But it is a way for those folks to just let things go and move themselves along to reaching those retirement goals. And then, of course, if you're really worried about retirement readiness, and you can as an organization, and I want to say this gingerly because I know not everyone is feeling this way, but if you can as an organization, a match is a great way to go as well for most folks. And I would come out and I would talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about it with your employees. Let them know, hey, we're doing this match because we care about you folks and we want to help you reach your goal. If you don't do that, I think as a retirement plan advisor, if you don't do that, people get to thinking they're entitled to a match, which is not the truth at all, which is totally wrong. No person is entitled to a match. But if you want to help your folks reach their goal and you think that's going to help recruit people into your organization, then a match is a wonderful, wonderful um, benefit to give to your employees. So first, market volatility. Um, let's see, we want to make sure that we get that diversification. Second, retirement readiness. Let's move on to the third one. And I've talked about this a little bit before. That's regulatory changes. Have you seen anything like that in your in your in your dealings with plan sponsors or participants, Crystal? People getting afraid of what the new laws are going to be.
Well, yeah, because certain departments are going to be eliminated, and I think, far as let me check and see, but I think part of Project 25, I think that the Department of Labor is one of them, mainly because they want to get rid of overtime for employees. Um, Labor Department. So I do think that is one of the ones that's on the what's his name? Valmy or whatever, Elon Musk. I think that's one of their target areas.
Mm,
Department of Education, Department of Labor, any kind of restrictions. Basically, it appears that any kind of regulatory governmental agencies or federal agencies that prevent you as the CEO from doing whatever you want to do to whomever you want to do it to, they're
mm.
getting rid of those so that they can get rid of all those guardrails. So yeah, the Department of Labor is one of the ones that they are talking about eliminating.
Yeah, I like the word you use, guardrails. These agencies that create guardrails, some of us call them guardrails, some of us call them obstructions to getting business done. The
Mm-hmm.
upshot is that by not knowing if they're going to go or if they're going to come or how much they're going to be rolled back or when they're going to be rolled back, because so many of these things they have to go through Congress or they have agencies. But to your point, uh, I know one of the departments on the chopping block or looking like it's be on the block is education. You just mentioned the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor runs ERISA, which is the governing body of retirement plans. So if I would imagine that if Congress created uh, ERISA and passed the law so that it would happen without an enforcement a person or enforcement group like the Department of Labor, that could cause some serious issues with regard to how money's come out of your paycheck, if they do come out, the whole 401k structure. So that's something that people,
The matching.
yeah, they might. I might be out of a job.
Yeah, yeah. There, I'm reading here, and this is one that's kind of outlining something. So, one of the agencies in the crosshairs is the Department of Labor, as well as affiliated agencies, which include National Labor Relations Board, the Employment Opportunity Commission, and the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation. Those are the ones that are in the crosshairs.
Yeah, so we are definitely looking at some interesting times. So what are we going to do without that? The only thing I could do is stay close to your advisor. Make sure you have a really good connection with that person. We are receiving news on a regular basis. One of the things I like to do as a retirement plan advisor, stay close to my wholesalers who are in companies where they actually do this for a living. And that's a really good thing. If you have a 401k plan, and it's with a company that doesn't necessarily do this as their major core of business. I've shied away from companies like that, but if you do, make sure that your advisor, if it's a retirement plan advisor, they probably have a good place to get information. But just be aware of that. If you have someone that's a retirement plan advisor and your company is with an organization that doesn't always do this as a primary form of business, ask your advisor about that. You might go to to an organization that allow you some more flexibility than a regular legacy company does. And with that comes sometimes a lack of information with regard to legalities, with regard to the rules of retirement plans. So just make sure you stay close to your advisor, and don't be afraid to pop in and say, "Hey, what's the regulations look like now? Do we still have a Department of Labor? do we, right? Because laws are a good thing, but without enforcement, really, we can all drive
Yeah, I
65
think
or 75 in our 55.
right, and the Constitution and the running of America is based on the three entities that govern the Constitution, to protect the Constitution, right? And so, depending on the who is in control of the House, the Senate, that's when you have issues, right? And then on top of that, you have your Supreme Court. That's everything is one-sided right now. So that means that what can come through Congress or get tied up in 4 years of scrimmages from the ones that are trying to protect the country and protect the democracy of the country, and then the ones that are trying to create a whole new not even a democracy, a whole new regime of how the country should run, which would be on an autocracy type of platform, which means one man has all the power and all the control.
Yeah, I think you're speaking the truth that a lot of us hold. And I think it represents a valid concern over how the country is going to be run. And I think it's real. I think a lot of people need to realize that especially when it comes to regulatory changes. When we start looking at agencies that we've become accustomed to, we may be surprised at having them not there, how that looks for us. So, for example, Medicare, Medicaid, those are on the chopping blocks. VA benefits, those are on the chopping blocks. And you may think that, Social Security, another one. You may think that those are sacrosanct, that they are not within the ability for Congress to change them or for the president to change them, but that's just not true. And then we also have to remember that if we go back to our high school civics class, that our government is not monolithic. There is the local government, the state government, that controls a lot of what it is that we do and how we function. In some ways, here in California, we have a governor that is a bit more, shall we say, recalcitrant with regard to what Mr. Trump says. And there are a lot of states that are listening to our program that don't necessarily have that. So it is a good idea to take a look at, okay, what's happening at the federal level, and then how is that going to affect me here at the state level and the county level, where, to be honest with you, a lot of our lives with regard to how we do business and where we do business is determined right down here at the state level, which we have a lot more effect on than you think. So I definitely think this issue that we're talking about, regulatory changes, and I so appreciate you bringing up the info about the Labor Department being possibly on the blocks, and OSHA. That's stuff people want to consider.
Yeah.
If we move along a little bit, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm good.
Okay. If we move along, we have something that I've been preaching about for a while, and that is cybersecurity risk. And as we get closer and closer to working digitally, the risk of cybersecurity goes up. And I don't think this is just a new thing because of the new year or the new administration. I just think it's an ongoing pain that people have. I have to admit, I am the worst password person. Oh gosh, I have to write my passwords down in a book. I have to do all kinds of things to keep track of them. And I'm in an industry where we got to change them all the time, and I'm always looking out for being phished and all kinds of things. And I can just imagine that tools to help us with that, like a password manager, are going to become more prevalent, and it's going to get more difficult to manage, no matter who's in office. I don't think that really matters. So
No, actually, there were 3 cyber attacks just last week. One of them, Android and Apple. Their databases were all hacked, and I know I was getting messages saying to be aware, don't send Texas, don't send sensitive information through Texas. Use encrypted systems like WhatsApp that's specifically encrypted so that they can't get access to it. So if you're going to send something, if you feel you have to, also your email addresses, you have to be careful of that. You're sending out emails. Yeah, but there were a number of cyber attacks. They're coming in from China and Russia. And so that's a reality. It's probably more happening daily than we even know about.
Mm-hmm. Yes, most definitely. I'm sure we have no idea.
Right. We have no idea. And we also have to know that social media platforms are not owned by you. So therefore, your content is not owned by you. It's owned by
Right.
the individuals that own the platforms. So be very cautious about what you're posting on your social media platforms, including LinkedIn. And they're usually ones standing out because it's more business related. But just be careful, be cautious.
I think that's such good advice. That is something that we have to remember in just about in any kind of communication that you have. It's not government sponsored. It's not owned by you. I love the way you said that. It is not owned by us as individuals. It's owned by a company, and they can do what they want with it. They can shut it down right here and tomorrow, or open it up, and because you're on their lines, it's not sacred. So
No.
very, very well said there. Very well said. Okay, the last one on my list is one that we've always had. I'm not so sure a new administration puts more pressure on that, but the changing economics of our business do, and that is fee management. As we know, the market for some of us is increasing, is getting better. The stock market is certainly getting better, and that drives prices. That drives fee exchanges, fee increasing. I was trying to say fee increasing. So if you weren't benchmarking your plan, or if your advisor hasn't benchmarked your plan in the last 3 years, then it's time to take a look at that. I usually benchmark our plans between 3 to 4, 2 to 3, 3 to 4 years. Try to get that done every time there. And sometimes we don't make that mark because the plans haven't been around long enough. But benchmarking your plan is one great way to, number one, fulfill your fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interest of participants. And it's a great way to keep your cost effective. So
what happened to you?
Please do that. Number one is benchmark your plan. Make sure my screen's giving me strange messages here. Make sure that because I'm gone. Well, how about
that? You're gone. It has a great reason for giving you a message.
That is so interesting. Well, I'll just leave that.
But while you're coming back,
I'll just leave that avatar up there. So we have come to pretty much the end of our program anyway, but definitely wanted to mention those 5 things again: market volatility, retirement readiness, the regulatory changes, keep abreast of those. Embrace the cybersecurity protocols you have to go through because those risks are out there, and then moderate your fees with benchmarking and having conversations with your advisor and the record keeper and your TPA, if you have one, as to how we can make this work. You know, we can do this. We can manage fees working together rather than just accepting them. Okay.
Exactly. And
Now, if
also,
you,
if
oh, go
I
ahead.
think, as you were saying, just this is not that, because sometimes what happens with, you know those of us, if we don't understand, we just going to hope and pray that it's going to turn out in our best interest. But we can't use that strategy in this particular environment right now, because it's really not about anybody else's best interest, but the entities that want what they want. And so, if you don't know, as you said, oops, lost you. As you said, Jevon, just make sure that you are in contact with your plan advisor. If no question is too silly, no question is dumb, no question is anything. You want to protect, especially those of you that are really close to retirement, like in the next 4 or 5 years. You truly want to be much more vigilant. What would you say, as we're getting ready to round up, those that may have been putting off, they're in that space, they're in retirement age space, that have been putting it off, but and they just need to, is this the right time, or should they continue to wait till they're 70? But they're right there. They're like at the door, ready
Are
for
we
it to
talking
happen.
about are we talking about participants that have waited to start saving, or are we talking about business owners that
We're
have
talking
waited?
about business owners that have been contemplating retirement
Business
based
owners
upon,
that contemplating
yeah,
this.
and employees that have been contemplating it, but thinking that they'd hold off for another couple of years or what have you. What would be some advice for them?
The first thing I would do is say, let's do an assessment with
Okay.
regard to what you think your life is going to be, and it's going to be some tough questions. How healthy are you? Can you get healthy? That's one.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Mm-hmm.
start looking at what's long-term care going to be, and then take a look at your housing. Take a look at what your plan should be once you retire. What do you want that retirement to look like? If you haven't done that before, you've got to start with that. I mean, usually I would say talk to your financial advisor, talk to your retirement plan advisor, talk to both of those folks so that you can chart a path to convert to retirement. And I stand behind that fully. However, I would say, and thank you for giving me the opportunity, start with a plan. Start with a plan. A young lady called me a few days ago saying, I want to get that plan in my retirement plan where I don't have to pay taxes on the money that I pull out. That's a great start. She's thinking about taxes eating into her retirement plan. That's a great start, but it's not the whole start. The whole start would be, what do I want that retirement life to look like? And then from that, how much is that going to cost? And then let's talk about how we're going to get there. And then let's talk about, do we need to adjust any one of those? So,
Mm-hmm.
so yes, talk to the financial advisors, but first, get a good idea as to what you want your retirement to look like. Not what you think is going to happen, but what you want it to look like. And then let's go. Then we'll talk to the people that can help you get to as close to that as possible. So I would say do that.
Okay.
And I would say be flexible. And I would also say, not to railroad too much of this, but I would also say, be aware that 5 to 10 years in, you may need to make a change in your plan, and that's okay. That's fine. That happens. Don't be afraid of that. But get yourself a plan first.
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to get the last word, or do you
No,
have
we're gonna
anything?
say that was my last word. Just let's gonna say that was both of our last words.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Well, all righty. Well, it has been great chatting with you, Crystal. I think we are pretty much out of time. My apologies for the funky internet connection, I still don't know what happened there. But we will see.
It didn't like the background you had chose, that's for sure. So
something like that. Something like that.
it was just as confused as our guests may be, our audience may be right now with what's going on. Everybody's flustered. So we're just going to let the internet is flustered right now because I know I am.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right. All right. Well, then that's cool. We will see all of you, and I'll see you especially next Monday when we talk about investing in your retirement plan.
All righty. Sounds good to me.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye, everyone.